You know, living in America is getting a little hard right now. Like, most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, inflation, groceries are so expensive, and, you know, minimum wage is still really low in a lot of states. Student debt is ridiculous. The cost of college just keeps rising. The housing market is trash. The job market is trash. So many people are struggling to get jobs. I mean, it's just getting really hard. Like, we could really use some help.
Since no one wants to talk about it, I'm going to be the one to talk about it. Because something needs to be done at this point. Since when do you go to a supermarket and an 18 count of eggs is $8.99? So you mean to tell me that I got to give you almost $10 for 18 eggs? And that's not all. Look at the butter. The butter's almost $13. Ain't no one doing anything about it. I think it's time that we somehow gather together and do something about it. How much is milk? $4.99 for a half gallon.
For everything has skyrocketed under the Biden administration, and they may go even higher due to his economic policies, as even cheap fast food places like McDonald's have raised their prices so high that it's become unaffordable, with some stores charging $18 for a Big Mac when it was only $4.95 4 years ago. And that's not even the worst of it. Some everyday grocery item prices have quadrupled. For example, the average price of a dozen eggs has gone from $1.20 in 2019 to a staggering $4.82. A lot of this is because of the government's policies, and with all of it added up, it's estimated that the average American household has to spend an additional $11,000 annually just to maintain the same standard of living that they enjoyed 4 years ago. And Biden has tried to address these issues, but his economic policies have only made things worse, like the direct stimulus payments his administration did in 2021, which may have helped people in the short term, but it caused inflation to soar up to near 10%, thus making everything more expensive in the long term.
Hey, welcome back. It's your man Wise, and yes, we got to talk about it. One of our favorite politicians in the House, Representative Byron Donalds, took to CNN to do what he does best, which is smack down woke liberal propagandists known as mainstream media reporters. Donald sits down with Kate Bolduan and commences to give this lady a lesson on inflation. I'm sure she regrets having him on her show. I'm sure she does. He may not get any more invites from reporters over at CNN because all he does is embarrass them all. Before we get into the videos, like, share, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Watch this video all the way through to the end. And without further ado, let's go.
Kamala Harris's administration with Joe Biden crippled families across our entire country. There was a video of a black woman being interviewed, I think by MSNBC, talking about how prices have gone up massively. A bell pepper that was $2 is now $5.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
Who do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps. Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that. They're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children, and I don't.
Well, the reason why those prices have been massively expensive is because Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote on Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan in 2021. She was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act. All that did was create massive government spending, which created massive inflation on the backs of the American people. Overall, prices are up well over 20%, especially when you start getting into food and other areas like that. So Kamala Harris's record has been one of leaving working families behind. When Donald Trump was president, we didn't have a massive inflation. Our economy was growing massively at the same time. Working families were getting ahead. Middle-income families getting ahead. Everybody was thriving.
Wow. Well said. And he's absolutely right. I mean, when you start looking at the fact that Kamala Harris was the deciding vote and it caused 20% inflation, she is the reason that folks can't afford anything. Not to mention the Trump corporate tax that was at 21%. Biden gets in there and he eliminates that, takes the tax back up to 35%. That happened in 2022. From that point on, layoffs started happening. I don't know if you guys recall, but the layoffs started in 2022 and they have persisted and they've increased and they've gotten larger as the years have progressed. Because what we know is that when you tax companies into oblivion, it's a trickle-down effect. It stops growth, it stops job growth, it stops innovation, and that's where we are right now. And Byron Donalds is absolutely right. We were so much more prosperous under the Trump administration, so much more.
Going to be her economic agenda? Is that going to be different from Joe Biden? I don't think so, because Susan Rice is on the record now saying that Kamala Harris was integral in the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris agenda.
Kamala Harris has been an integral architect and executor of the policies of the Biden-Harris administration.
I just laid out for you that she voted and she broke the ties in the Senate to push Joe Biden's economic agenda.
The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative and the bill as amended is passed.
She has to answer for that. What is she going to say? Oh, I just want to move forward. And let's go back to another one. When she ran for president in 2020, when she was in the United States Senate, she supported the massive Green New Deal.
I am committed to passing a Green New Deal.
She supported Medicare for all.
You support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it.
She ran on that in 2020. Now she's trying to throw out staffers to run away from that. So what I am saying is not about age, about being a candidate for political and economic change to help our country thrive. Whether you're black or white, rich or poor, middle income, it doesn't matter. That person's Donald J. Trump. It is not Kamala Harris. And that is
my
why
point
Kamala
was
Harris
I was
will
asking
not
about
answer
age, which
questions.
is why I was and you've brought up her not answering questions. You've also called her not competent and
You see the stuttering, stammering? Because they've been shilling for this lady for a long time. They've been shilling for this lady for a long time. And the chickens are starting to come home to roost. Now think about this. That Green New Deal Kamala wants to push through, that's a $100 trillion policy. She also wants to push through Medicare for all, socialized medicine in the United States of America. That's a $44 trillion policy. Her policies stink. And really and truly, they would probably put us in a situation where they would just exacerbate the national debt. I mean, it's already out of hand as it is, but what she would like to implement would exacerbate the debt. Then you look at the fact that she was the deciding vote that caused the 20% inflation, and she will not sit in front of the media. She will not hold a press conference. She will not answer to the American people for her part in these policies that are atrocious. In my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of people, that is the reason why the people in her campaign are hiding her from the American people, because she can't stand up to her policy record. She just can't. So they're hoping that the American people will be okay with her giving these scripted, teleprompted talks, and that's it, hiding from everything else. That's their hope. That's their hope. But I am so looking forward to the people that are supposed to do this, the mainstream media, the people on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSDNC, Fox. I'm so looking forward to those people calling her out and forcing her to have press conferences, forcing her to sit down with not just one reporter, but multiples. Sit down and have some interviews. Times put her on the cover and she refused to go and speak with them. How do you expect for people to take you seriously as a commander-in-chief, as a president, but you won't sit down and have conversations with the media? You won't actually speak to the American people and answer the American people's questions. But this lady wants to be president. It's not adding up. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Consider joining the ARP family. It supports me, the team, the channel, gives us the ability to do what we do on a day-to-day basis. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up, and we'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.